as of right now, Dylan Raiola is Nebraska's quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Their 5-star quarterback, the thing that Husker fans have been dreaming about forever.
Uh-huh.
Oh, imagine if we had a 5-star quarterback. Well, guess what?
They have
You
one.
do.
Yeah.
And you've had.
Yeah.
And he started most of the games of the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But it feels like a lot of people have started to move on or are wanting to move on very quickly.
Yes.
And the phrase that has been coined is, at least by us, Raiola fatigue. And it's kind of universal, right? It's not just, again, it started kind of with Dayton.
Are you saying it could be House Raiola?
Yes, House Raiola.
Dun, 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 dun.
Exactly.
But do you have...
Oh, is there Sigil Dillon's logo?
It could be, Nick.
Do you suffer from Raiola fatigue? Just the everything, right?
Everything that goes into
celebrity, the talking about he doesn't get rid of the ball enough.
It doesn't just have to be all the ancillary stuff, right? Like we got an email from
it's
Jeff.
Everything.
Jeff writes, Dylan brings a lot of the fatigue on himself with all of the Mahomes mimicking. He feeds it with his actions and mannerisms, but the Tiffy should withhold throwing Raiola on the scrap heap until we see Latif play at Penn State and against Iowa. Much tougher competition and stress that he has not yet faced. So going back to the first part about it, I like an email like this, John, for a couple of different reasons. One, I think lays it out in easy to understand terms. Also, Jeff doesn't seem like a Tiffy. Happer and Otson had a really good discussion on their show today about, does being a Tiffy mean that you have to be anti-Raiola? And they both agreed, like, you shouldn't have to be anti one player just because you are pro another. Late 90s, for example. You don't have to be anti-Newcomb just because you're pro Crouch, and yet it often does seem that way.
It's like that old Twitter argument. Somebody says they like waffles, and it's like, so you hate pancakes?
You hate pancakes? Oh, you like Latif? Oh, so you hate Dylan? No, it doesn't.
Because that's become the stupid nature of how we now debate and argue in this country.
Debate
the sports. But it is. It's like, well, I like this person. That means I hate that person, or I like this view, but I hate that view. No, maybe I just disagree with it, or maybe I just preferred this view better than that view. But because we like to, make sure that there are clear lines of demarcation, that we have to treat it as such. The idea just in general of the fatigue, heck, it can go back to last offseason. Last offseason, there were those rumors that Miami.
His dad was shopping him around, yeah.
And while that wasn't known in the moment, it's kind of become more accepted now that was taking place. And yet it really wasn't much of a talking point during the season, during the offseason, or during the season. And the talk inside the program has been nothing but positive. Mm-hmm. Nothing but positive. He's a great teammate. We're grooming him to be an NFL quarterback. Dylan's not our problem. It seems like every move when talking about Dylan has been to make sure that you say something right or say something good.
Say something positive.
And say something positive. There has not been
the positive boys. Bingo.
From within the program, any negativity. Not that you should expect it. I mean, yeah, there's been a lot of questions asked about the offensive line, but you haven't heard, you don't necessarily hear, yeah, that guy's not getting the job done. We need to sit his ass down. They've been a little more diplomatic with it. But when it came to Dylan, it felt like it was, could I say, a rush to positivity?
In terms of how they talk about him?
Correct.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Could you?
I think that's fair. I think that the way they talk about him, I notice it every single week, where, it's not that Rule goes out and blames everybody. I think he's very measured with his words often, certainly about the players, but there does seem to be almost a defensiveness about how they talk about him, and I think that, I guess if I'm just speaking for myself trying to answer this question, I think that part of my fatigue is in that is, John, kids' gloves, is that too harsh of a term to use?
No.
I think if okay, good. Because that's kind of what it feels like to me, or that's what I hear. And so I know I've gotten tired of it, and I've said my piece about it a couple of times, and I don't mean to bag on the kid, and I don't certainly want, it's not personal. I don't know him, but
he's just playing. I mean, they're playing the game.
Yeah, the apparatus that surrounds it. And look, maybe this is something that I'm going to have to reckon with moving forward in my own life as I get, further away from the age that these players are. That I'm just not going to like that because, I'm sure that there are other quarterbacks in college football that are the same way, that would act the same way. But it's gotten tiring. But I think a part of it, too, for me is his play on the field and the kind of laissez-faire nature of the way he would get sacked at times, right? Where everything would look like it was in slow motion for him. And it's not even because I think he's slow, but there was like a casualness that he plays with that I just don't find appealing in terms of watching it. And so when the news came out yesterday and we wonder, is this the first domino to fall? There's like this part of me that's like, I think it would be good for all parties if that was the first domino to fall. I really do. Dwayne says, I'm waiting until after the Penn State game to form an opinion on Latif, but all the extra stuff around Dai Long is getting old, and he's just not fun to watch. A 5-star quarterback who lives in the dirt.
See, here's
Dai Long.
Here's where you're making a dangerous assumption. If you're quickly wanting to move on, is you're still basing it off really one game. And remember, he hasn't played a great defense. And sure, maybe he could have a good game against Penn State, but it's still a small sample size. Hell, even at the end of this season, it's still going to be a small sample size. Now,
sure.
A small sample size may be all you have to go off of. So and again, coaches are going to make the decision not only based on what happens in the games, but how they work in practice and what they see as, that person's abilities. In this case, we're talking about Latif, that person's abilities and his abilities to engineer the offense. But from a fan perspective, I think there is a danger in casting Raiola aside too quickly. Now, who knows? Maybe a decision's already been made. Maybe the internet sleuths have already, spotted, the red herring, or not the red herring, but spotted the evidence that, Dylan's got one foot out the door. But I don't know. I don't know right now if you're a fan, if you want him out the door.
How come?
Because you might need him next year. You might want him next year. And how did this turn so quickly? It turned very, very quickly.
I can tell you the answer to that question.
And remember, this season has not been a failure.
I can tell you the answer to why it turned or how it turned so quickly. 9. Don't you think that game against Minnesota was like a dividing line in how people viewed him? 9 sacks.
Yeah, but that is so ignorant. That is so ignorant. Because I'm telling you, man, that offensive line was not good that day. That whole team was not good that day. That saying 9 implies that it's all Dylan. That whole team was not good that day.
John, 12
They were embarrassing that day on both sides of the ball.
But you wouldn't say that he was like a large part of the story, given that he was sacked 9 separate times?
But that's, again, implying that he's responsible for all 9 or most of those 9 sacks.
I mean, I think he was responsible for probably half of them.
Go back and rewatch that game.
Oh, I have.
There are many times where if he just dirts it like everyone wants to, guess what happens? Here comes the flag, grounding, and it counts the same as a sack. I think it's ignorant to sit here and say that, if he just threw the ball away. Yeah, sure. Am I saying he could in some circumstances? Absolutely. But it's way, 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 way too simple to just go back to that Minnesota game and said, well, that's where it turned. Because the whole team stunk that night.
I know. You asked a question.
That was a garbage performance from the top down.
You asked a question. I'm just trying to give you an answer.
I know. I'm answering it that way because I'm guessing there might be some people who actually believe that way. Oh, that was the turning point.
12 touchdowns, 6
really?
Interceptions this year against power conference teams. Mm-hmm. I think that played a part in it too. He didn't take the big step forward. I really do think there is something about the way he operates. Like, just got a text from Rattlesnake Ron. He says, I'm waiting to see how Latif does against quality defenses, but can we all admit that the entire Raiola family seems like a lot to deal with? Numerous high schools, including 3 different states, Dance Mom, Dom Raiola turning the screws to get more NIL money last year, the uncle cashing in on his nephew's recruitment. So it's less about maybe Dylan, and he is just the face of the story. And that's my own words now, kind of putting it into perspective of what Ron said.
Poll questions. Do you suffer from Raiola fatigue? 45% say not at all. So it's almost half.
That's interesting.
45% say not at all. 26% say I yawn every now and then.
What does that mean?
Well, it means, when you yawn, it means you're kind of tired. So I yawn every now and then.
All right.
It's just a different way of saying
somewhat
slight
sleepy.
Fatigue.
Okay.
Slight fatigue.
I like that. That's good.
Outright yes. Outright yes is at 16%. And I'm feeling pretty tired.
I think I'll go home now.
Is at 13%.
Delivery drivers.
At least in terms of any level of Raiola fatigue versus none at all, it's 54-45.
Yeah.
54-46.
So it's more than half, but it's not like some sort of an unfixable number. Delivery driver Doug writes, I'll say that 5 times fast.
Yeah.
I appreciate what Dylan has done for Nebraska, but I just like a mobile quarterback.
And listen, that's a matter of taste. And
you probably agree with that, don't you? You like mobile quarterbacks.
Yeah, I do.
I mean, there's a quarterback in the NFL who will probably be in the MVP conversation in a few weeks named Matt Stafford, who's not super mobile, but, he's pretty good.
There's just something but a pocket passer.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, but when you have superior coaching, when they're not mismanaging games at the end and allowing teams 61-yard field goals at the end, is really good.
Yeah.
Honestly, 2 of the problems you have is because it's not like he hasn't been surrounded with talent.
No, this year especially.
But you don't have enough pass protection for a quarterback who plays like this. And I don't know if the play calling or play caller necessarily matches this style of quarterback.
See, now that's why when you say what you did about next year, that's where I do bristle a little bit, where people are like, hey, it's only been 1 game for Latif. And I get that. I'm not even saying it has to be Latif moving forward, but I don't know. I do wonder if we've gotten the answers we need to have gotten with Dylan Raiola as it pertains to the fit that he has with his play caller, and the fit that he has with the level of talent Nebraska can bring in on the offensive line. I think they have pretty good skill guys this year, better than they've had at any point over the last, 10 years. I like the receivers. I really like the running back. I like the tight end. Like, this offense has been too clunky for my taste over the course of the season. Like, why is that? Why is that? Why has the offense been so clunky, why they've thrown up bricks, very inconsistent, even though it's the best running back since Amir Abdullah, the best collection of receivers they've had in I don't know how many years. 3 receivers that I genuinely like that all have different skill sets. Does it feel like they're maximizing that group? I don't think they have, and so that's been pretty frustrating over the course. It's been frustrating over the course of the season.
Right. It is crazy how quick things can turn. Now, again, it's not everybody, but I guarantee you, if and when it happens, you're going to hear a lot more people being more open with their feelings on, I hated all that Mahomes stuff.
Oh, yeah. I never liked it in the first place.
Ever before, because it really did get to them, but because, he's our guy, we got to support him.
So I think it is little brother syndrome. It's like, we can say that about him, but you can't, because I feel like people started to get more annoyed by it when it hit the national level.
Sure it did.
Yeah. I think another thing too, John, and I don't know if you've heard this or if you've had this in your inbox at all over the last few weeks, people really kind of got sour on how he runs out onto the field even. Like, with the tunnel walk, because he's way out in front of the rest of the team, and he's all by himself, and he's not with his group.
Didn't all that? I mean, all that crap started with the bowl win.
Well, yeah, that's true.
When he ran over to the side and kind of by himself, and
people did cool their jets,
exhorting the fans, and
no doubt,
and that was a talking point.
Yeah, for sure.
Which in the moment I thought, I mean, usually at the end of games, people are going everywhere. If anything, why didn't the rest of the team,
go and celebrate
over
too.
there as well.
See, now I think I'm pretty sure they might have, and that he was just all separate by himself.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just got a text that said he ran out even ahead of Bud when Bud was leading them out. See, I never really go to games, so I missed this until recently, but I've heard a lot of people say that they do not like that, how he is separate from the team when he runs out onto the field. And look, I'm not going to get mad at somebody for saying that. It's a team. It's a team that comes out for the tunnel walk. It's not one guy who leads.
I guess I've not really paid that close of attention.
I will say this. I noticed it.
I'm there every week. I guess I haven't paid attention.
So I when I write my stories, I find the photos myself, and so I always choose them. And so I remember searching Dylan Raiola after the USC game, and one of the photos that pops up is him way out in front of the group for the USC tunnel walk. And that was the first time that I had seen, like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder why he was like, and then I started hearing from a lot of people like, yeah, he does that all the time, and that they didn't really like it. So pretty interesting.
Well, if you want to vote, you can go to our YouTube. Wow. You can go to our Twitter handle at USC1620 and vote right now in our poll question. Do you have Raiola fatigue? Someone asked, what does this even mean? It's like,
I think it's a normal question.
Yeah, it's a very good question.
Oh, thank you, Nick.